Happy 4th of July, sisters. As I promised this morning, it's a little late, almost lunchtime. I wanted to share with you the mini message of the heart for this past week. Now, this one is going to be a little bit different because the Lord really gave me something um, to share with you. So, this scripture would be a difficult scripture to actually to memorize, but I do want to share with you the what God has given me and the scripture that He took me to share this. So yesterday in church, we were of course having our Fourth of July service where we did have a lot of um, rescue responders, different people there in the service that we had and hoped to have a chance to, honor them for what they were doing. But right before, or in the very beginning parts of the service, I heard those bell tones go off on their radios, and I watched them hover together to hear what was happening, what was taking place, and then just in unison, without even thinking or second guessing themselves, they stood up and literally exited the sanctuary. And of course, we all gave them a round of applause because right there, watching it take place in the very middle of a service, like in the action, they get the call and they're going. And I thought about how that they were sent out and called to rescue. And I think about us as sisters in the army of God, about what is our station and what is our calling, about literally responding like these first responders do. We have been talking so much about being poor in spirit and about literally understanding what at how empty that we are so that we can be filled by God. And I thought about the word rescue, and I thought about in scripture how that we can um what does rescue mean? So the Lord took me to this, and I think that this will resonate with you as well. But in Daniel chapter 6, and it starts with verse 26, and it says, "I make a decree that in all the dominion of my kingdom, men are to fear and tremble before the God of Daniel." And here is what King Nebuchadnezzar said because of this experience of Daniel being locked in a lion's den. And right now, it may not be the literal lions that you are feeling trapped in, and the Lord did shut the jaws of the lions. But I want you to think about the situation, the pit that you may be in right now, and how that the Lord can minister to you and take charge of the situation that surrounds you. So King Nebuchadnezzar said this. He said, "For he is the living God and enduring forever, and his kingdom is one which will not be destroyed, and his dominion will be forever." And here's the key verse in verse 27. It says, "He delivers and rescues and performs signs and wonders." And those three words are delivers, rescues, and performs signs and wonders in heaven and on earth, who has also delivered Daniel from the power of the lions. Each of us are facing the power of the lions that are walking around seeking whom they may devour, which we all have a target on our back. But this really spoke to my heart when I was thinking about how would it be if all of us sisters, when we saw on Facebook or got that call from a friend, or if you have a prayer chain at your church, if that call came through, and just like those first responders, without dropping everything that's going on, not worrying about who sees or what, and we left to meet the throne room of God to pray for our sisters or those who are in need, or whatever their prayer requests may be. Could you imagine if, when we heard that, instead of posting on Facebook praying or prayers, that we literally dropped what we do and dropped to our knees to absolutely seek God? So I thought about these first responders. They're going out to this person or to this situation. Maybe it's an accident, maybe it's the heart attack, maybe it could be all kinds of different things. But in that ambulance or that truck, that paramedic vehicle, they are literally equipped to help administer so many different techniques and perform so many things to help, to assist, to get this person from one position to the other where they can get the greatest care. And isn't that our calling, or isn't that our station? As Cassie says all the time, we need to work the station that God has given us. Isn't that powerful to be able to say, like the first responders who don't give it a second thought, they're putting their life in danger all the time doing these things, but their heart of service is to rescue those who are in need. And isn't it that what we are supposed to be doing too? So it really changed my mind. It was just an overwhelming feeling that came over me sitting there in church, watching that, thinking about how negligent, that even myself has been, that when when sisters and brothers, people are in need, how that I need to be like the first responders, to drop what I'm doing and drop to my knees. Or even the most powerful thing is taking time to meet that sister or brother, whoever it may be, to be able to lay your hands on them. To There is nothing more powerful than being prayed for or having someone to pray with you through a situation. So again, this scripture in Daniel 6, chapter 27, verse 27 says, He delivers and He rescues and He performs signs and wonders. And right now, in the midst of a lot that I've been experiencing, I have watched Him perform signs and wonders. I have watched Him, I've watched everything else fail me, and I've watched God absolutely deliver, because He's going to be the God to get the glory. And I want to give Him all the glory, and I want to give Him all the praise today for moving mountains, for me watching in awe as things have failed me, literally failed me this week, only to set it up for God to get the glory and to intervene in such a way. And so, feeling like you're in that lined pit with Daniel. Daniel trusted God, and we have to trust God. But also, as the first responders, and that word rescue coming back to me, let's think about how that we can rescue sisters and brothers from that pit. How can we aid them in such a way with praying or giving or whatever God has aligned us to do? We need to use the spiritual gift that He has given us in a mighty powerful way. And we need to, so I want to ask, I want to challenge each of you, myself included, this week, that when you hear of someone in need, that you be just like those first responders who left without hesitation to get to that person in need. And God has equipped each of us with gifts, spiritual gifts. He has equipped each of us with everything that inside of us that we need to live our purpose for Him, for our story to be for His glory. And so ask God to use you this week to help you to be a first responder to another brother or sister in need. And I hope that you guys have been encouraged by this today, and thinking about changing who we are, about what we do, and thinking that it's a life or death situation. Sometimes it feels like that to some people who are in the pits. And imagine when this person is saying, I need prayer, imagine them in that pit with those lines, what they must have felt like. But the power of God can trump everything, and does trump everything. And it just says that His kingdom is one which will not be destroyed, and His dominion will be forever. And it says, in heaven He delivers and rescues and performs signs and wonders in heaven and on earth, who has also delivered Daniel from the power of the lions, and He can deliver each of us from those situations too. So as I want to encourage you to stay salty this week, but be mindful to work your station and be that absolute responder that God has called you to be.